Okay, everybody, it's me, Teri Hunter. Let's try this again. For those of you that are just hearing this now, I started a live stream and I don't know, it went buffering crazy and I had to end it. So hopefully you'll all find me back here at some point. I'm going to kind of stall. Oh, there you are. I see somebody in the room. Okay, so I'm going to kind of refresh a little bit for those of you that I don't even know where we are. Lucky is fine. Good morning, Just Call Me C. Good morning, Small Wildflowers. I don't even know what happened. You know, this is crazy times. I feel like we're in a Mercury retrograde, even though I know we're not. Okay, we're back. Yes. Lucky is okay. He had surgery. He's lost 6 teeth. He has no teeth up here now. We're waiting for a biopsy, so we're not 100% out of the woods, but I feel really good about it. And I want to thank everybody for your support, for your beautiful messages you left me. I'm not used to being that vulnerable to the world with my weepy sounding voice. So it's good to be back and it's good to see all of you. I've really missed you all. So thank you so much. And today's a new moon in Aries. And this is starting a 6-month cycle. And I want to talk about some kind of things before I go into the readings today, because this last couple of weeks, I think a lot of you know that Nikola Stanovich crossed over this last couple of weeks. And that was rather stunning and shocking for everybody. And I think we're about the same age, but I've been thinking about this because Pluto has been squaring me and Uranus is making aspects to my grand trines. And there's just all this like craziness. And this new moon today is at 22.9 basically degrees of Aries, which is squaring or in opposition to my sun in Libra at 23 degrees. So I was thinking to myself, what is all this stuff? What is all this transit asking of me? And I started to think about my birth chart. And, Pluto's been making aspects to my chart my whole life. All my planets are sort of over here on this side. Pluto's been transiting up this way. So it's been conjunct almost every planet already, except my moon. So I started to dig deep and ask myself, what do I really believe? What do I really want? And I started to have these epiphanies that a lot of my goals and a lot of the things that I wanted to achieve weren't really as altruistic as I thought they were. They were ways of proving myself and saying, do you see my value? And look out at the world, it sees my value. And it just made me start to recalibrate in a way that felt a lot more authentic and a lot better and kind of gave me some relief. And I say relief because I think I would just want a more harmonious life. I love coming here on Sunday, but I'm not sure I want to conquer the world anymore. I just want to conquer me and be authentic to me and not try to prove myself out in the world. So that's what I think is going on. And Venus is making a strong aspect to this new moon. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. Venus is making a strong aspect to Pluto. That's what I want to say. Let me look at my notes real quick. Venus is at 26 degrees right now, and so is Pluto. Venus is in Aries, about to go into Taurus. So Venus is our self-worth, it's our money, it's our possessions, it's our femininity, it's our creativity in some ways. And we have all these planets in Aries right now kind of having this conversation. Chiron is there, Mercury is there at 14 degrees. We've got the sun and the moon coming together this evening at 22 degrees, which I think offers transformation, and then Venus. So I thought to myself, I want to be more courageous. If this 6-month cycle with this new moon starts in the dark of the new moon and offers me opportunities until the full moon in Aries in October, where it will be the culmination of the cycle, what do I really want? And whose opinion really matters? Because when I started peeling back the onion, it wasn't as, there was a lot of stuff there that was a relief That's the way I want to say it. It was a relief not to really care so much about that, and not to care so much about that, and to care more about this. So that's where I'm going with this. I feel like Aries is the entrepreneur, Aries is independent, Aries is courageous, Aries is brave, and it's time to start to play to those dynamics and to play to the dynamics that Pluto wants us to dig deep into our heart and what's so important to our heart. And I think we have to ask ourselves that question more than once, because I thought a lot of things were important to my heart, and that's what I'm talking about. As I dug deeper, they are important to my heart, but they were also something that was screaming out, do you see my value? Do you see my value? And I want to take that off the table. So, all right, that's what I wanted to say. I hope you guys put out some strong intentions for this new moon. Plant your seeds. Be brave in looking at those seeds and what they really mean to you, because they're going to set a precedence. And then I want to say this too. The theme of 2021 is the Uranus squaring Saturn dynamic. So the old is being rearranged Saturn by Uranus, the new, the innovative, the fresh, the explosive, the rebellious. So in this new moon of Aries, courageous energy, what old structures need to be revamped in your life? And without throwing out the baby with the bathwater, without tearing down the whole structure, how can you reframe it to better suit where you want to go moving forward? Okay, that's what I'm going. Now, let's start with the readings. As always, I start with Pisces, and I move my head towards Aries. I want to say, okay, so I start with your rising sign, because that's how I feel like you feel on the inside. It's who you really are. Then we have our moon. And, all the professional astrologers say sun next, but I really, truly believe that we create based on our emotions. And when we feel like crap, or we feel scared or fearful, where our creations, our intentions are in a wobble. So when we look at how the moon is being affected, we can see the opportunities that are being presented to look at our emotional body and to dig a little deeper as to, is that really true? Is it a projection of where I want to be? Or is it a projection of where I've been, and I'm basing my future on where I've been? Because that's not going to really work. Okay, now something caught my eye. Somebody said, Megan, happy birthday on Tuesday. Now I have to bring that up because I saw this on Lada's most recent video. She mentioned, this is so important because today is a new moon. Tuesday is the 13th in the Pacific, or in the United States, and I believe Wednesday is the 14th. On the 13th, the sun will still be in Aries in its exaltation. The moon will have moved into Taurus in its exaltation, and they will be coming together, again, creating a new dynamic. So we have this new moon where they're conjunct, and then we have them both in their highest vibration of exaltation, which only happens once a year. And per Lada, the actions we take on those 2 days set a tone for the coming year and is supported by favorable vibrations through the stars. So I encourage each one of you to take some time and really set a tone, and not a tone based on where you've been, but where you want to go. Okay? And take a second look, because the first look, you're more than likely going to base it on the rearview mirror. All right, let's go into our readings. Oh, Megan, that's fabulous. You're going to have that. That sounds like a really positive and uplifting dynamic to start this year with. So terrific. Oh, the 2 days, Charlotte, are the 13th and the 14th. If you're in Australia or on that side of the world, it may be the 14th and the 15th. You'll want to check. I'm not good with time zones. I'm not good with math. Just not in my wheelhouse, sorry. Okay, so let's start with Aries and work our way. As I said, we're going to go rising sign, moon, sun, and stelliums. And stelliums are 3, 4 if you want to be more on the strict side. Planets in one sign or house. This is very influential because it has a focus. Your soul created multiple layers of focus, but if you have a stellium, that's a very strong indication of something you want to balance or something you want to achieve within this lifetime. So Pisces, here we go. Rosh, that's awesome. If your birthday is April 14th, that's terrific. Take advantage of the stars. Spend some time really putting some little spit and polish on your dreams and your hopes. Because that's what I think all of this nonsense has been about. I feel like all of the nonsense of the transits of Pluto and Saturn and all of that through Capricorn was about breaking away all the illusions. And now we get to move into this dynamic of really being more authentic to ourselves. So I think that's so important to grab onto the future. All right, Pisces. Our first angel is Serena, the angel of abundance. The second is Patience, the angel of not patience, but more observation, gathering information. We have Seraphina in the angel's advice, and then we have Archangel Raphael in the final position. Okay. Serena is being joined by the communications card. Patience is being joined by Merlin. Seraphina is being joined by the protection card. And Archangel Raphael is being joined by the risk card. Okay, so this is the thing that has this last couple of weeks kind of traversing between the human part of myself and the part of myself that's evolved into the spiritual teacher. It's been very, very illuminating on how I'm communicating with myself. And Pisces, I feel like that's what the focus is of this new moon and this opportunity that this sun and moon have in exaltation is to really start to identify and start to engage yourself in a more faithful conversation with God and the angels. Serena's not just calm, she is trusting, and she's trusting in I don't think it's just the universe will provide, but almost a worthiness. You know, I believe in our spiritual journey sometimes we're so used to doing the work that we overly do the work. We don't ever sit in the enjoyment of our own evolution. And I feel like that's what Serena's talking about, that as you sit in the abundance of your own evolution and you allow for that, you're going to start to observe the synchronicity and the Merlin represents alchemy, and alchemy doesn't happen easily. It's a balance through pressure. And then we have justice, and we have what's the final word? Oh, balance. And then we have patience. And I think as this represents your opportunity and or your obstacle, Pisces, that you will see how whatever the challenges you've been going through, you have observed yourself in a new way. And you've been able to observe how spirit and how God and the angels are protecting you. Sometimes we think we want things and we say, oh my gosh, if I just could get a job, I'd feel so much better. I'd have money in the bank. But we don't really think about the hours we're going to spend at that job. And once we get in it, if it isn't aligned to something we feel that will fulfill us, it's going to become the golden noose. Because Seraphina and the protection card is in the angel's advice. And I think Seraphina represents a change to the family that is positive and happy. And here's the protection card. And that change comes through this kind of starting to understand the challenging dynamic that is bringing you into balance. Because now is a time for Pisces to actually risk sitting in the idea that your journey is now no longer to look for healing, but to look for the reconciliation of the experience. Sometimes our challenge, no, I don't want to say sometimes. All the time, our challenges are the seedlings, the ingredients to our empowerment. And I thought about this week, being so vulnerable to Lucky being sick out of nowhere. I mean, the guy is like the happiest, most he's such a, I had no idea there was anything going on in his mouth. I didn't know there were abscesses. He was acting fine. And when the doctor went to this kind of extreme place of what could potentially happen, I had to really dig deep in what I know about myself, what I know about God and the angels, what I know about my journey on this planet. And then, to be honest with you, when Nikolai passed away, I had been communicating with Lada, and she asked me, when I told her that Pluto was transiting and squaring my Mars, my sun, my ascendant, she asked me how my health was. I thought, what, am I going to die? And then I thought, no, the whole difference is the people on the other side are starting to talk to me more. So good news, I'm talking to the dead more, guys. Anyway, long story short, for Pisces, it's time to observe how you're communicating with yourself, because Spirit is trying to show you abundance. And some of that abundance is coming through the breaking away of old structures that were actually not serving you anymore. So as you surrender to that and then start to say, what if I start to focus on all the things that are starting to coagulate, to gel, to see the synchronicity of my own spiritual journey or my own alignment to my birth chart start to manifest and bring in the things that I want. And those of you that are having birthdays over this next couple of days, take advantage of really sitting in that energy of owning your own transformation so that you can take that into the next year. And in that way, be a pioneer for those around you. Okay, I kind of digressed a little. All right, let's go into our Aquariuses, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. I was thinking too about how the ripple effect of my birth chart, because Uranus is exact on my moon right now in Taurus. It's at 9 degrees, and this triggers 2 grand trines in my chart. And so it hits Saturn, it hits Venus, it hits Pluto. And I've really started to embrace the idea that these things are not meant to shock me, to blow up my life, but rather to start to live the evolved version of myself. So that's what I want you guys to look at, how when these transits are hitting certain things, look at the ripple effect, and then ask yourself on a really deep soul level, am I still the person I was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago? Or do those experiences actually serve the evolved part of me that is walking the earth today? All right. Because I think that'll help. Maheen, I think that'll help you with the emotional struggles, because there is some sort of epiphany to empower you through that. I at one point, I got very used to asking God and the angels, what am I pretending not to know? When I was really scared and when I was really feeling vulnerable, what am I pretending not to know? And a lot of the times the answer was that I was more powerful than I was willing to stand in. Because a part of me was afraid that if I stood in it, I wouldn't be, but I never tested the waters. All right, here we go. Aquarius. Our first angel is crystal in the foundational position. And the opportunity of the obstacle is the patience card again. We have Caressa in the angel's advice, and then we have Shanti, the angel of peace. Joining crystal is the butterfly. Joining patience is the bee card. Joining Caressa is Merlin again. And joining Shanti is the goblin. Okay. When I look at crystal and I look at the butterfly, I kind of see this little bit of Pluto, because the caterpillar has definitely gone into the cocoon and feeling the Pluto energy. And then crystal saying, have faith and hope there's more on the horizon that you can't see. And I want to say this for Aquarius, because, you represent the exact dynamic of the square between Saturn and Uranus. That's transiting Uranus and Saturn having moved into Aquarius. So having this square is giving you an opportunity to really dig deep as to what structures work for you that you want to keep and not throwing them away. Saturn rewards hard work. Saturn doesn't really like your emotional body, doesn't care if you're happy about that hard work. So your job with the Uranus side of Aquarius is to do the hard work towards what's authentic to you. That's what I think you've been going through. And that's why it's like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet. Believe in yourself. Put your eye on the prize, because in the opportunity, the obstacle is the B card. And B for me is always my being energy. What do I believe? What is my attitude? What is my disposition as I walk into a situation? And there's the patience card, which we know is not about being patient. Being patient. It's about observation. And that observation is not about judgment. It's not about seeking where you're not good enough or where you haven't evolved enough. It's more about going back to where you have been, because Caressa is offering a new chapter. And this new moon offers that new chapter. And the next few days offer a new chapter. This whole last few years have. And it's the alchemy. It's the justice. It's the balance. We are all here going through this place of the old is breaking away, but we're being activated into a place where the earth plane is presenting the opportunity to be the nirvana it was meant to be by spirit. And it is not the absence of challenges. It's not the absence of fear. It's the digging deep and knowing how fear is in some ways the main ingredient to feeling empowered. When we walk through it, I watch these reality shows. You guys know that. I watch The Voice and I see them pacing up and down before their auditions. They're so nervous. And then they go kick ass and they're walking out so crazy excited. That's fear transformed. Because what I think for Aries is Shanti is the angel of peace. And I'm sorry, I said Aries, I mean Aquarius. The goblin is about the human ego. And we need the ego. The ego is not our villain. The ego is where the fear lives. But it also is the recipe for our peace. Because as we walk into the unknown, we are transformed. So I want to offer this for Aquarius. I don't really think this is the wounded ego right now. The picture on this card will never change, but its vibration will for me. And as I look at my ego and I say, you scare the crap out of me sometimes. You ask me if I'm good enough. You ask me if I'm deserving enough. You ask me if I've done the work. And you know what? I'm starting to say, yes, I have. Thank you, ego, for asking. Now step aside so that spirit may step through and show me and give me evidence that I've done the work, and now is time to reap the reward for it. That's where I'm going with this. Take this new moon, do an inventory, give yourself a minute to say, it's not the absence of challenges. It's my bravery and my willingness to walk through them. And ask if they're real. All right, let's go on to our Capricorns. My little goats. You know how I feel about my baby goats. I think it's quite funny how when we think about Capricorn, we always go to the more challenging dynamics. We see the old goat with the tin can in its mouth, neighing. We never see the babies jumping up and down. That's Saturn transformed. Okay, here we go. For those of you that are new to the show, I go backwards. My Libra balance, everybody always starts with Aries and works towards Pisces, so I like to go backwards. We are on Capricorn, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is the angel of victory, Omega. The second is Crystal. Again, we see these themes with every sign. Then we have Athena. And then we have Chantal. Wow, interesting. Chantal's the angel of romance, guys. Crystal, welcome. I'm glad it's Monday. The grumpy goats. All right. Well, if your daughter's a grumpy goat, show her a baby goat. Make her look at a baby goat. Maybe she'll catch a clue. All right. Capricorn. Joining Omega is the dog. Joining Crystal is the focus card. Joining Athena is the perception card. And joining Chantal is the mystery card. Well, this is very interesting. So, we kind of think of the new moon as the man, sun, and the woman coming together. And we have Omega, the angel of victory, keep up the good work, and the dog, which is about love. It's about loyalty and sincerity. And I can't help but think Capricorn, and especially for those of you that have a Capricorn stellium, you have been going through it for the last couple of years. You know it. All those planets have been conjunct. And when Jupiter and Mars went in there, it was like kaboom for you. So I feel like this is a time to really look at the things in your life that this isn't just about the love of a man and a woman, but the love of creating a part of the chapter in your life where you truly do take your actions and look at your perceptions based on what you want to experience, it's a little bit about allowing yourself to be a little bit more idealistic. That's the way I want to put it. The baby goat that's excited. And I do think this is not just about intimate love, although in the final position, Chantal does represent intimate love, but I think let's generalize this a little bit more because many of you may not even be interested in love. Some of you may be in long-term relationships. And where I'm going with this is as you focus on the bigger picture of love, because when we are authentic to ourselves and purporting behaviors and perceptions that are about what we love, we naturally have that ripple effect for others. Because while Omega is saying that there is victory ahead, there are good things ahead. There is more enjoyable experiences that sit at your feet, Capricorn. But part of your job is to focus in on the idea that you don't need to know how it's going to play out. Because in the angel's advice, this is about asserting yourself and your perceptions. Because, I've been talking to Capricorn for quite a while about kind of transforming this idea from being the grumpy goat to the baby goat. And I feel like it's time to sort of, again, here's this theme for me of the new moon, digging into the evolved version of myself. Because there is a large part of me that thinks Capricorn may be falling in love with themselves because they've been evolving and they no longer feel restricted and limited and depressed and oppressed by what, has been or what has been expected or what structures in your life have been assigned to you. That's what I think the last couple of weeks when I realized for me that a lot of my endeavors that I want, and I still do want them, a lot of them were based on somebody else acknowledging them. So Capricorn, I feel like there is a part of you that gets to acknowledge, again, yourself, move more succinctly and more focused in the things that you love. And this is the activities you love, the I don't know. I don't even know what other words I can use. Activities, the people, the interests you have, being brave, moving forward because something's coming up for you and it feels very good. So this next 6 months may be very pivotal for you. And you may not have met any specific person right now, but there is a good chance you will. So, allow yourself to be more open. The mystery card is about choice. Nothing is really happening to us. We are walking through this forest together and we're making choices about how to go down this path. So while Chantal will tell you new romance is imminent, she'll tell you there's a resurgence of romance in your life. And then we have the dog in the foundational position. So make sure that as you're moving forward, you're setting the groundwork for that love to look the way you want it to, not the way it's been. All right, let's go on to our Sagittariuses. Sagittarius rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, and I wanted to mention this too, and I don't know if I've mentioned it in a while, but I'm going to bring it up. If you have a stellium of planets, be mindful of what house it's in, because that's going to be the environment with which that stellium will play out. So let's say you have a stellium in the first house, Sagittarius. That's going to be the most prominent, probably, energy, are the planets in that first house and how they relate to and what kind of conversations they're having. And that's going to reflect how you feel about yourself and how you walk out in the world. So Sagittarius, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Hi, Melissa. Good to see you. Hi, Aquaman. Miriam, Shelley. Evolution in disguise. Good to see you. Feels like I haven't been here for a long time. All right, Sagittarius. Our first angel is Fiona. The second is Archangel Uriel. The third is Shanti. And then we have Archangel Raphael. Good morning, Lisa. Stephen, it's so good to see you. Okay. Is T-Bo in the house today? I haven't seen him, I don't think. All is well, Stephen. Yes. I don't know if you can see Lucky's good. We're just waiting for a biopsy, but we're feeling very positive. Okay. Sagittarius. We have Fiona being joined by the horse, which is your card. We have Archangel Uriel being joined by the cow. We have Shanti being joined by the burden card. And then we have Archangel Raphael being joined by the love card. Okay. It's interesting because Fiona is saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving heaven's guidance and that you deserve that guidance. And then we have the horse. Sagittarius is represented by the centaur. And on the words on the card say accepting help from another or delegating authority. And I believe that this is very much about turning over things to God and the angels. And I want to say it this way, Sagittarius, because I feel like when I look at this, I feel very much that this is about, I go to Archangel Raphael in love. And I feel like, as crazy as this sounds, here we go. It's springtime, the season of love, the season where the animals come out and start procreating. And I want to put it there, but I also want to say that this is, again, about a chapter in your life where you're taking actions and you're contemplating moves and dynamics that you love, that are important to you, how you want to spend your time. Because in the opportunity or the obstacle, it is time to allow Archangel Uriel to balance your frustration, because again, here we have asking and receiving, which is very much in alignment with the foundation. It's time to turn over, in many ways, a lot of your earthly wants and desires to spirit. And when I say that, it's kind of like, it sounds a little, cocky or kooky. Kooky. I want to say it this way because I feel like this is more like something to the effect of, Spirit, I've been walking around trying to make things happen in my life. I've been pushing up against my life and, I'm not getting the results I want. And I really want to start to love things more. I want to enjoy things more. And I believe this is on the plate. This is on the docket for Sagittarius. But there is a part of you that has to start to dig deeper and see where you have resistance, where you're working too hard. Because when you're working too hard, there is a deep-seated belief that you will not get what you want, or that it's hard, or that it's way out there. Because the burden of feeling peaceful is part of the reason you're frustrated. It's a surrendering. This last couple of weeks when Lucky was so vulnerable and so many people have lost their pets. We've been seeing it in the chat for months now. We've been seeing this kind of dynamic going through. Virgo represents pets. And I felt very vulnerable. He's my family. It's just him and me. And I had to dig deep to ask myself, is this in my contract? would my guides and my angels put me in that compromised energy? And I turned it over to them. I'm like, I am going to follow your guidance. And when I said no to the cardiologist, I'm not going to spend all that money for this. I feel like somebody's panicking somewhere. And I had to pull back away from their panic button. Sagittarius, I feel like there's a part of you that gets to pull away from whatever's going on out there that is someone else's panic button and kind of recalibrate, because God and the angels are offering you this new moon, this opportunity over the next few days to really have a new beginning based on your connection to the angelic realm. It's what you represent. You know, the axis of Gemini and Sagittarius, you know, with Gemini representing the everyday, the learnings of everyday life. Sagittarius represents new ideals, the connection to the angelic realm, the higher education and thoughts that are stretching. So it's time to stretch a little bit, because it's about working in connection with. You can't push it up against it anymore. You can't make it happen by yourself. So ask Spirit. I will feel more comforted as you give me signs and omens that, yes, indeed, as I move towards the things I love, I feel reconciled, and it gives me epiphanies to continue to follow that path. Okay. All right, let's move on to our Scorpios. Oh my goodness, Charlotte Renee, that is just, that's horrible. I am so sorry, but I want to tell you that cats can adapt. So if he's a little tripod now, that doesn't mean that all is lost, that he may be found. And that might be something wonderful for you to experience, is that even though he may appear off balance, he may have come into your life to show you resilience. And that when you don't focus in on the loss, you focus in on he's got 3 legs instead of 4, but that's okay because he still has 3 legs. All right, here we go. On to our Scorpios, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Thank you, Susie Heavens. All right, here we go. Scorpio, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Hopefully it's not buffering for long, guys. I'm going to send some love out to the world. Whoops. All right, Scorpio, our first angel is Seraphina. The second is the Patience card. Well, isn't that showing up a lot? Fiona's here again. And Aurora. Hi, Astro Ascension Tarot. It's good to see you. Oh, I know, Shelly. It was big loss losing Nikolai. I think it's Nicola. I'm not sure. I don't say it right. But, you know, I feel like on some level it's a loss, and yet I wouldn't be surprised if he's buzzes around and makes himself known from the other side. All right, here we go. Seraphina is being joined by the Partnership card, Scorpio, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Patience card is being joined by the Swan. Fiona is being joined by the Focus card. And Aurora is being joined by the Earth Fairy. Scorpio, I can't, you know, I've been telling you guys I've been watching all these science shows. I've learned more now than I did when I was in school. And the idea that Pluto has this 600-mile heart on the face of the planet that you can see from space is so wild to me. Pluto is your ruling planet. And I feel like this is not about you. This is about trusting your heart. This is where I want to go, because I believe for my Scorpios that there is this idea of Seraphina represents a happy change to the family, and here's the partnership card. And I could go to a place of partnership always being one person, but I kind of don't think of it that way. I really kind of think of it as a much broader, because my relationship and my partnership with spirit, with my guides and my angels, sets the tone for the partnerships that I have with the human people I interact with. And I feel like Scorpio, when you go deep to the Platonian dynamics of your intuition, Pisces represents intuition, but to me, I think Scorpio is even more so, because it's braver a little bit than Pisces, in the sense that it has its stinger. Pisces, the only defense it has is just swim away as fast as it can, whereas Scorpio has a little bit more of a protective shell with its stinger. So as you dig deeper into your partnership with your inner knowing, what you want, what you sense, I believe that this starts to shift things. Because if you've been in a situation where you're in human partnerships and your inner knowing is saying, I think this is so out of balance, it's time to connect with that deeper part of yourself, because the patience card is here in the opportunity and or the obstacle. Then the swan is here. And this is about observing your own intuitions and knowing that you're going from the place of feeling like the ugly duckling into the swan. Because now that you've asked God and the angels for help, they are focused in on what is the deeper part of what you want. Now let's go to the idea that Scorpio represents intimacy and sex. The things in the bedroom where two people come and expose themselves. It's the Kundalini thing. It's very intimate. And I feel like it's time for Scorpio to get intimate with their emotional body so that they can start to experience on this earth the things that they really want. Aurora says you're flying high right now. Don't descend, because you will soon inspire others by your actions. And there's the Earth Fairy. And I think that's about grounding. I think that's about bringing that depth here into the earthly plane. I talk a lot about, we don't choose our partners because we need, your cow, or, it's not a survival thing anymore. This is something different. Partnerships are being offered to us based on something much more empowering, where two people get to come together and really be all they can be together. And instead of looking at somebody as completing you, thinking of them as complementing you. That's where I'm going with this. So Scorpio, as you start to give life to the idea that there is someone that complements your depth and your emotional savoriness, and sometimes even understanding your stinginess, I feel like this will bring more peace and more harmony to you. And that will soon inspire others. So let's let ourselves be activated as the light workers that we are and claim our lives and our happiness. All right. On to Libra, my sun sign. Did I start singing again? Oh, dear God, you guys, I apologize. I do that a lot lately. It's the new astrological year. It is indeed. And we have so much newness. We have the idea of the Aries season starts the new zodiac year. We have today the new moon, in Aries, which is starting a 6-month cycle that'll culminate in October with the full moon in Aries. And then we have the idea that the sun is exalted in Aries and the moon is exalted in Taurus, and they're going to be hanging out in exaltation for the next couple of days, the 13th and the 14th here in the Pacific or on the western side of the world. And I think it's the 14th and the 15th for those of you on the east side of the world. So utilizing all this energy to be excited, planting your own seeds of manifestation. Okay, here we go. Libra, rising moon, sun and stelliums. And I want to say this because we don't often think about how, when we talk about these transits and things, sometimes we don't really, and I've been emphasizing it a little bit more, the ripple effect, because all the cardinal signs, Libra, Aries, Cancer, have all been affected by this transit in Capricorn. So paying attention to those squares, the tension sometimes is not about trying to pull the rug out from underneath you, but rather asking you to an authentic question if that's what you really want. And I go there because Libra is the most compromising sign of the zodiac. In some ways, it's so compromising that it's self-deprecating. So now, as you step in the balance of your wants mean as much as the wants of everyone around you, then those squares and the tension make sense. They work for you. Yeah, it's not till 7 o'clock, I think, in the Pacific. It's at 1931, which I think is 7:30. I'm not sure. Okay, here we go. Libra. Our first angel is Bethany, angel of self-care. The second is Francesca. The third is Oceana. And the final is Shanti, the angel of peace. Pookie Glass, look for, I think, your rising sign first, then your moon. And I say that because the moon represents our emotions, and I think we manifest off our emotions. Then you can go to your sun or a stellium. I think a stellium is even very powerful. So you have 3 or 4 more planets in one sign or house. Pay attention. That's a focus within your birth chart that your soul chose. Bethany is being joined by the eagle, Libra. Francesca is being joined by the cat. Oceana is being joined by the horse. And Shanti is being joined by the earth fairy. Okay, so I started off talking about how Libra can be sometimes over-compromising. And Bethany is the card of self-care. And then there's the eagle, which represents spirit, the angelic realm, and integrity. And I want to offer it this way because it is standing in integrity to take care of oneself. Sometimes when we are overly caring for others, we start to build a resentment and we start to build a pattern of imbalance. And I feel like this is an opportunity for, in this new moon, for Libra to see that a little bit of self-care actually benefits those around you. And I say it, this is where my Aries rising really shows who I am, because the Libra sun in me is, I think, the absolutely most smallest. I mean, it's influential, but of all my 3 personal planets, it's the smallest because I am not compromising sometimes. My Aries sticks out. So Libra, because that's where I am, it's about taking care of yourself, because when you do that, you're actually standing in a better place for other people. Because a little bit of independence, a little bit of healthy boundaries for yourself will actually start to allow you to manifest things for yourself that will start to fill your heart. And when you start to fill your heart, then you're better able to connect and move in. And I want to say move in another direction. And let me see how I can put this. Because when I'm being ambiguous when I say moving into another direction, I believe that there are things for Libra right now that the squares that Pluto has shown, has revealed, and the oppositions that we're seeing now are asking you to dig deeper into what you really want and to start to move towards those things, and not to be fearful that if you move towards the things that you love, that you will somehow lose what you love that's already in place. It's almost as if a little bit of independent thought or a little bit of independent action might make Libra feel vulnerable, that they will be disconnected somehow. And I feel like that's not true. That's actually, it's the opposite, because Shanti, the angel of peace, is here, and there's the earth fairy. And to me, this is like, there's a feeling of, as you move towards what's interesting to you, what you feel guided to explore, to experience, to birth, then it starts to come into a place that is rooted into the earth, that will bring more peace. So let me say this. SH, I don't know if you're a Libra or not, but if you're feeling stuck There is a good possibility that you're only focusing in on where you've been. And let me kind of make this more succinct. Let's say you need more money. You feel stuck in money. I don't know if that's it, but let me give you an example. And you look at your bank account and you see, I got $100. And you look at your job and you go, they pay me $100. I only have $200. Everything you project into the future is going to be based on only that $200. Throw that $200 away. Start to say to spirit, you know what? I want to experience something different. So help me to focus in on what I want, not what's in my bank account, not the person I'm in partnership with, but what do I really want? Because I believe that Libra wants a sense of peace. So did I discover about myself over this next 2 weeks that, yes, do I want to create a huge YouTube channel and help people all around the world? Yes. But you know what? There was a part of me that wanted to do that so that somebody else would find value in me. And now I feel like as I really dig deep as to what I want, then what I want is to live a more peaceful and harmonious life inside of myself. And in doing so, I hope that helps others. So that's what I'm trying to say. SH, look deeper into what you want, not in what you've experienced and not in what others expect of you. And then as you open up to spirit, what do you visualize right now? You will gain a sense of independence because that alignment to what you want offers the law of attraction benefit. It kicks it in. So now I'm going to go a little weird and crazy. This show may run long today because last night I watched this show. I didn't finish it, but it was this show on the moon. It's The Unexplained with William Shatner on like the History Channel. And I don't know a lot about science. So I was fascinated that the interior of the moon churns this kind of lava that creates this electricity that then creates this electromagnetic field that then protects the Earth from solar flares and random meteors because they deflect them. What does the moon represent in astrology? Our emotions. Libra, when you dig deep into what's important to you and what is in the deeper part of your emotions, what's churning inside of you, you will start to create an electromagnetic field that will deflect what you don't want and draw in what you do. And you'll start to sit in this more harmonious energy that will then be activated here on the earth that will then offer a light to others. That's where I want to say. I'm going on to Virgo now. Thank you, Benefit Boss. I really kind of feel like I'm a little worked over, to be honest with you. I haven't slept well in weeks because the stress of trying not to go down the dark path. It's not easy when the human brain has been branded with so many fear-based thoughts. You know, every commercial on American television is, you know, your body needs this to live and needs that to do this. And then they play all this great 70s music so the baby boomers will feel all young while they're taking their old people's drugs. It's crazy. Okay. Whoops. Congratulations, Susie Q. Did you just become a grandma? All right. No, yes, you did, Amy. I put Jagger and Amy together. I did Scorpio. I'm on to Virgo. I started Aries and I worked my way backwards. Thank you, Rick. I am taking care of my health, 14 Reed. Don't you worry. I'm taking care of my health. I'm taking care of Lucky's health. I'm probably healthier now than I've ever been. And this is Pluto transformed, you guys. We focus so much on the dark side of these planets and how scary they can be. But I'm going to share another crazy story before I go on. And maybe I'm talking a lot today because I haven't been here in a couple of weeks. But I have to tell you, a week ago Saturday, I got a call from a client and one of her friends had passed away. And she was very upset. I have Mercury and Neptune in the 8th house of Scorpio. So they came wanting to connect with this woman. Pluto rules death and rebirth. And as I surrendered to the idea that this is part of maybe what Pluto's transforming inside of me, maybe Pluto doesn't want to take my physical health away from me and kill me, but rather transform my natural talent to be brave in trusting that connection. Because I'm not John Edward, and I'm not Teresa Caputo, and I'm not Tyler Henry. And as I walked through that path, and while I was scared, this woman came through in a way like I could never tell you. She came through as if she was standing next to me. And the experience that her friends got to have was transformational, not just for them, but for all the people that were touched and devastated by her loss. She was a young woman. So look deeper into these planets, you guys. Look at the hues and the colors they offer us, and don't just focus in on the dark side, because I really think that there's a lot of good things that can be birthed right now. All right, Virgo, here we go. Whoops. Thank you, Juan, for doing the timestamps. The people in the watching the playback are going to be so thankful. Teri is talking more than usual. All right, Virgo, rising moon, sun and stelliums. We have Rosetta in the foundational position. We have Merlina in the opportunity or the obstacle. We have Crystal coming out again in the angel's advice. And then we have Daniel, the angel of marriage. No, Dolores, I don't know how to say that. The Lorest. Taurus will be second to the last. I go backwards. Thank you, Juan. I know, your Virgo stellium, of course it's under control. What am I thinking? CJD, hi. No, Tebow's not here today. I don't know where he is. I think the darker planets might have the brightest gifts. Antigone. I don't know how to say that. Okay, Virgo, Rosetta joining. Rosetta is the wind fairy. Merlina's being joined by the love card. Crystal's being joined by the butterfly. And Daniel is being joined by the raven. You know, this is very interesting to me when I look at it, because Daniel is the angel of marriage in the final position. And in some respects, I could say that Virgo was going to open up to partnership, but I'm going to go a whole different direction with this. Because Virgo represents Mercury rules you, okay. And we know that Virgo sometimes on its darker side is critical. It is the perfectionist that tends to look at where the holes are instead of what's working. No offense. And if you have a stellium, sometimes that'll be even more, you'll do this to yourself. You'll look to yourself where you're not perfect. So here we go. The wind fairy is all about thoughts, communications, analysis. Here's Rosetta, the angel of children, of parenting and guiding. And I think this new moon is offering Virgo an opportunity to really recalibrate their thought process, to starting to look at Virgo from the idea that, you know, Virgo, the virgin, purity, but is the purity actually perfection, or is the purity the perfection of the journey of imperfection? The human will never be perfect. The human will never walk a path that is absent of fear or challenge, because it is through the fear and challenge that the human feels exhilaration, feels empowerment. So as Virgo starts to fall in love with the idea of discovery, this is Merlina. You know, Merlina, she'll talk about being confused and indecisive, which kind of makes me laugh, because Merlina is wearing a wizard's cap. And so she's magical on some idea, on some level. So are you really confused? Or Virgo, do you need to go back to love? Go back out of your head and into, children are never in their head. We condition them. We teach them to be good, to mind, to be dutiful. You know, they're actually little creatures of creation, because they're always in their imagination. They're always allowing for things to blossom in that pure way. So here, as you allow love to lead you out of your confusion, because it's time for transformation once again. And I think at the very beginning of this, for Pisces, we got this exact same combination. The unknown, have faith, because through the darkness of your transformation, beauty is being offered to you. And in the final position for Virgo, I have Daniel, the angel of marriage, and I have the raven. And I don't think this is really about marriage. It may be for some of you, but Daniel talks about my history. It talks about the story I bring into partnership. Now we go back to the beginning, the partnership of your thoughts, the partnership of allowing yourself transformation into a more childlike belief that I do deserve to enjoy life. Because the raven is a strong animal totem that goes into the underworld and comes back magical in its transformation. So I think this partnership is really more about the partnership of your own mind and the partnership of revamping what is the journey of perfection. And that is all the bumps, all the bruises, all the twists and turns that then empower you as you triumph over them. And the triumph is never in your actions. It's in your being energy. All right, let's go on to our Leos. Darren, welcome. I go backwards. I am Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, and I start at Pisces and work my way towards Aries because I just started it like, I don't know, small. What was it, like a year and a half ago? And I just kept it. Everybody goes to Aries to Pisces, and I just kind of wanted to throw some balance in there. All right, here we go. On to our Leos. Astro Ascension. That's a fun little Leo Sunday. Oh, Darren, did I scare you? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. All right, here we go. Leo, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Oceana. The second is Teresa. The third is Vanessa. And the final is Rochelle. So we know that Leo rules the heart, right? That's the body part it rules. It rules romance. It rules personal creativity and children. And it rules the whole zodiac. Every planet that comes into conversation, conjunction with the sun is eclipsed in some way. I can't think of the technical term right now. It's combust, I think is the technical term, because the sun outshines it. But I don't necessarily think that that is always the case in the sense of it trying to combust the planet as much as the sun feels like it's asking me if I'm always coming from my heart and the things that I want. So, Leo, Oceana is being joined by the restriction card. Teresa's being joined by the focus card. Vanessa's being joined by the Baird. And Rochelle's being joined by the Wind Fairy. So this is what I want to say because, you know, Oceana will talk about asserting yourself and being in touch with your truth and lovingly asserting yourself. And here's the restriction card. And I want to offer it this way because I don't know, oftentimes, Leo is sort of, oh, you're a Leo. You're big. You're going to come into the room and suck up all the air. Oh, you're so charming. Leo gets kind of a bad rap for being, I don't know, all the qualities I love about Leo are sometimes the things they get criticized for. And I feel like when Oceana is sitting there with the restriction card, it's saying to take a pause and really think about what it is that you want to experience and not let everybody else get in your head or get in your ear, because this is my opportunity and or my obstacle. And you may be, let's say you're a young person and you're a Leo and you've just, graduated college, or maybe you don't even want to go to college, but you decide you want to be a singer or a dancer or an actor. And you go to your parents and you say, I want to be a singer or an actor. And they all say, get a job. That's crazy. Don't listen to them. Is that mean of me? Don't focus on what other people are saying right now. I want you to focus in on what you want, because it feels like it's time to have faith in the enchantment of your own story. I think that the reason the sun rules the 5th house of personal pleasure, romance, children, and basically all things that are fun is because the human experience was meant to be more fun than we are making it out to be. And it's time to start to rewrite that. Because Leo, in the final position, we have Rochelle asking you to honor and follow the guidance of your heart. And then we have the wind fairy. The wind fairy is going to be your head. And your head and your heart are having some sort of conflicting conversation, as reflected here with the restriction card and Oceana. So I think it's an opportunity for you to sit back and really start to retell this story. So now I want to go to, who was it? Gail. You say, I want to be a millionaire. I don't know. Do you want to be a millionaire, or do you want all the things that you could buy with $1 million? Because I feel like rather than focusing on the millionaire, which may feel a little outside the box, if you started to focus on how much fun it would be to play with all the things that you would enjoy being a millionaire, that offers an opportunity for the universe to start to bring some of those things into place. Because what they may bring into place is not the $1 million, but some of the things that you would do if you had the $1 million. And then that starts to rewrite your belief system, which then starts to tell you a new story. Hope that makes sense. Because I'm always going to encourage Leo to follow their heart and to stand in the leadership that they are. Because we need to do that more, frankly, as humans. We get to do that more. Because as we get to do that, we realize it's not a selfish act. It's actually a very unselfish act. Okay, here we go. On to our Cancers. Astro Ascension. That's so awesome. Music, play the music. Let your soul, just feel free, because these things that we do, that we enjoy, they set a vibration. And if we think about the laws of attraction, and the more momentum we get into the things that we love, it starts to attract more things that we love. And sometimes those things are things we don't even know that we love because we haven't had an opportunity to experience them. But by stepping into something we do know we love and giving that a priority, making that an important thing, it allows the universe to bring us experiences that we wouldn't have otherwise had. So that's where I'm going with that. Thank you, Divine Knowledge. All right, here we go. Hi, Matea, our little crabs. Here we go, Cancer, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. All right, we have Rochelle. We have Astera. We have Vanessa. And we have Isabella. Ooh, I got chills everywhere. So you think about it, every month, Leo and Cancer, when they go into these moon cycles, are being activated in some way. And I want to say it this way, because Rochelle represents honoring the guidance of your heart. And what does the moon represent? Our heart, what we want, our love, our family, our intuition, our emotions. Rochelle is being joined by the owl. Astera is being joined by the queen. Vanessa is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. And Isabella is being joined by the protection card. Okay, so Cancer. The owl talks about deception and wisdom. One coin, two sides. If you stare at anything long enough, it's going to look funky to you. And I feel like because you represent home and hearth, because you represent motherhood, you represent nurturing the care of others, that following that guidance of your heart sometimes may not always be easy for you. And there's a constant push-pull between whether that's a good idea or not. And here we have, in the opportunity of the obstacle, Astera saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and not to compromise. And oftentimes when I hear that from spirit, the idea of not compromising is not going to another human being and telling them my idea. Because if they can't visualize my idea, they're going to inadvertently start to poke holes in my idea. And what a lot of people inadvertently don't understand is that not everything we create is because we work hard or push up against it. It starts with our belief. It's the be, do, have. What is my attitude before I start my actions that create my manifestation? Right now, Cancer, this is about reception. This is about sitting back and calmly receiving as you put your order into the universe. Because one of the things you get to experience is what it's like to hold your own during an emotional storm and have faith in a bigger picture. I want to say it this way because the idea of the astrological dynamics that have been going on for the last 2 years have really been pulling away structures that we're used to, but they didn't necessarily serve us. So sometimes when we're used to something, it feels secure, but it's not. It's the opposite. And that's what I think is happening, because as you go through this transformation, yes, the timing is right for this transformation. You are being protected. And the protection is of your heart. I think sometimes when we think about nurturing and we think about caring for others and the idea of caring for children, and if you're a man who's a Cancer, you have the same, tendencies to nurture, to love, to be sensitive, to be caring of others. And in that contemplation, sometimes it comes from a lower vibration. We want to protect others from harm. So inadvertently, our vibration of harm, of trepidation, of danger, it permeates something. So this is where I'm going with this, because as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, I feel like others start to connect with that and they start to feel a sense of relief. Can I put it that way? When you stop worrying, they stop worrying for you, or they stop worrying about how you'll respond to something. And then more enjoyable experiences and dynamics will start to come into your path. So, Cancer, the sun and the moon are coming together this week in their exalted homes, giving you an opportunity for a new beginning. And I think that part of this new beginning, while it may include the love of others, it's time to cut through the surface level and go deeper into what you want for yourself. And as you do something for yourself, the ripple effect is more positive than you can imagine right now. That's the way I'm going to put it. All right, let's go on to our Geminis. Hi, Lauren. Welcome. Oh, your dad's one of your earth angels now. Oh, he had a Sag moon and he was a Cancer. Oh, what a loving man, I'm sure. All right, Rick, Gemini moon. Here we go. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, Tiana, I'm glad. These aren't my messages. I'm just the messenger. I have no idea what I say when the whole thing is over. So that's spirit. It's your angels talking to you. Okay. We're going on to our Geminis, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Isabella. The second is Oceana. The third is Vanessa. And the final is Ariel. Isabella is being joined by the Focus card. Oceana is being joined by the dog. Vanessa is being joined by the king. And Ariel is being joined by the raven. I love my Geminis, because Gemini is fun and flirtatious, and you want to hang out with them at any kind of, social event. But also sometimes Gemini can be a little challenging, because inside their own head, they can ping back and forth. The sign of the twins, the sign of this sort of being able to look at things from both angles. It's kind of Libran, while Libra's not ruled by Mercury, that mercurial thing, the idea of my thoughts, what I think, what I speak. I feel like now is a time when Spirit is saying to focus. And this is not to focus on your experiences, darlings. This is to focus in on what you want to truly experience in love. The dog and Oceana, it's kind of funny because the way I look at this, I feel like somehow Gemini has been drifting into the story of yesteryear. And now it's time to sort of take that fun, flirtatious, light energy and move it into where you want to go. Because the king could represent a man coming into your life, but rather not. To me, it's justice. And Vanessa is faith or fear. So as you focus in on what you want and what you love, and I want to put it this way, because if this is about a relationship and you want a relationship and you haven't been in a relationship, or you've always dated, this type of person, and oh dear God, I don't want to go there again. All of that focus on, oh dear God, I don't want to go there again, Gemini, is actually preventing you from getting over here. So as you go over here, as you focus in on, well, maybe all those previous experiences are giving me a new experience of appreciation for something that I didn't know I needed in my life. Because in the final position is Ariel, saying new psychic experiences are going to change the way you view yourself in the world. And there's the timing issue. So this is where I want to go with this. Many of you may have experienced breakups in this last couple of years, 2019, 20, 18 even, a lot of stuff bubbled up to the surface, and it created structural changes. And I think that what I'm saying for Gemini right now is that your happiness may not have been able to even be implemented because those structural changes needed to take place in order for them to be viable for you to move forward. So that's what I'm thinking, is that the timing is right. So now it's a little bit about putting the past where it belongs, in the rear view mirror. Thank you, Gail. And starting to really focus in on what you love and the viability of it. If you do want to be in a relationship and you have not been in a relationship, then part of you has to step into, and I hate the word has to, gets to step into the energy of, well, maybe my partner wasn't even available. Maybe if I had met my life partner before he or she was ready, they would never have been aligned to me energetically. So we would have actually not served the health of our relationship. So now, as a Gemini, have done the hard work of looking at my own thought process, I am not only ready, but now the timing is right for both of us to be ready to come together. That's the way I want to put that. So often, I literally have people come sit at my table. Usually they're females, and they're like, Teri, I've done the work. I've gotten myself ready for my partner. Where is he? And I'll be like, well, he's got to do the work too, He's got to get into the place where he can meet you and be appreciative of you and honor you in all of the beautiful things that you are. So you don't have to dumb down. All right. Let's go on to Taurus. Rising Moon, Sun, and Stelliums. Oh, there I go again, singing. I don't know if that's really considered singing. I feel a little like some of you will know this reference and some of you will not. But if you remember the show Laugh-In, sometimes I feel like that Joanne, what's her name? Ooh, I don't know what, I can't remember her name. Oh. Being inside my own head is kind of funny sometimes. All right, here we go. Taurus, Rising Moon, Sun, and Stelliums. This is us. I've got Uranus sitting. Oh, and Uranus is going to go, a lot of planets are going to start to go retrograde. They're still moving forward this month, but at the end of the month, Uranus is going to go retrograde. So I think I've had Uranus floating around my moon back and forth for like 2 years. I'm over it. Exactly, Laugh-In, Lauren, I love it. You know the woman with the dark hair, and she used to have the glasses, Joanne, not Woodward. It was something else, and she was a big girl, not big like big in body, like her personality was super big. She always did these big, oh, things. Whirly. That's it, Kate. Whirly. Joanne Whirly. Oh, I love it when you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, here we go. Okay. That got me very excited. All right. Taurus, our first angel is Sonia. The second is Ariel. The third is Ray. And the final is Marlena. Woo. Yeah, me too. I was a kid too. I used to tell time by television. That's how I learned to tell time. Okay. Sonia Taurus is being joined by the water fairy. Ariel is being joined by the owl. Ray is being joined by the dog. And Marlena is being joined by the high priestess. Wow. Okay, so I've been talking about this ripple effect, right? Of when you see a transit hitting one of your planets. So here's my Taurus moon. Uranus is transiting it, and it's triggering the trines, the grand trines. I have felt that this trigger is about me doing more mediumship. And I've resisted it for years because it feels so wooey and so out there. And then I think, well, what's the difference between talking to spirit and talking to the angels? Because I want to offer this. For my Taurians, I do believe your earthboundness is starting to transform to where you start to realize there is a team of angels and guides around you that is literally talking to you through your emotional body. And it's kind of time for you to start to pay attention to that and start to decipher between, this is deciphering, this is deception and wisdom, between what is actually guidance that's nudging you towards a higher vibrational experience and where your need for security is keeping you in a situation that may not be serving you. Because in the angel's advice, I have Ray, and you guys know that she very much represents a connection to spirit through meditation. My power in my yellow stripe here, my solar plex chakra, my heart chakra, and my throat chakra, all connected to spirit about what is truly important and what I love and what I want to experience on this earth from a spiritual place. It's as if walking through this earth in a spiritual body will feel more comfortable to you than walking in it in a physical body where you feel more vulnerable. Because as you start to pay attention to the subtle emotions that are representing your team taking care of you, you have the opportunity for confusion to lift. But it's all about the transformation of your intuition. It's all about the inner voice. So when I start to pay attention to these dynamics of astrology and I start to kind of get my Teri-isms with them, they all come down to the viability of, like, honestly, I do not believe that we come to this planet to suffer, but rather to triumph over suffering, to find wisdom in the challenges. And I think that's what Taurus is going through, that Uranus is liberating you in some way. As it squares Saturn, it's asking you to be brave in breaking down those old structures that have actually been oppressive or have been restrictive or limiting, and then allowing yourself to open up more so that you can capitalize on the Venusian dynamics. There's a feeling to the feminine energy that when it's unadulterated is the word I want to use. When it's not being aberrated by the physical appearance, it is very receptive. It is the creator through reception, through receiving. So as Taurus starts to connect with their team and realize that their emotions are what are starting to, as you differentiate, because you have to, between what is truly fear. I started the broadcast, on a whole different live stream, and it didn't work out. I guess whoever heard about Lucky heard about it, but I was talking about some epiphanies I'd had about some of my motivations. And I think that's what Taurus is going through, is really identifying where their motives have been either fear-based, security-based, or based on other people's perception of you. And then rather than taking your actions based on that, allowing spirit to nudge you through your heart chakra towards what you want, thereby giving you experiences that will then anchor that into the earthly plane, which will then start to transform things. So when you're confused and unsure, go back to your team and ask them to give you validation. Tell them to give you signs 3 times. Anything 3 times to me is not a coincidence. And I don't really believe in coincidences anyway. So, all right, Taurus, it's time to rewrite your structure a little bit. All right, let's go to our Aries. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I look blue today. I think it's the cold weather and my windows and my lack of sunshine lately. Okay, here we go. Our last sign, Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Now, if you are an Aries, I have to say this. Well, I don't have to, but I'm going to. Thank you, Elle. We have a stellium of planets right now in Aries. If you have a stellium, you're having a lot of activations going on. We have Chiron at 9 degrees. Chiron is the wounded healer. So there can be a little bit of things being brought up that are meant to be re-examined so that you can balance them. We have Mercury. Obviously, we have the new moon and the sun. So the sun and the moon are there in Aries. And we have Venus. So as you start to look at all this, what I'm looking at is that wound that Chiron represents. How am I talking to myself? The Mercury at 14 degrees. Am I giving new life to a new situation? And how do I value myself? Venus squaring my ascendant, or Venus sitting on my ascendant squaring Pluto, and then having Nicola die, I thought, oh my God, am I just going to drop dead out of nowhere, have a heart attack? And I really don't think that's it. I think that there's something much bigger going on. And as I surrender to that, and I'm aware of the resistance I have to, sometimes, I'm going to say this sounds so weird, you guys, but I feel like sometimes I have resistance to the things that I love. Like I'm scared of them. So I back off of them. And I think this is part of what I get to re-examine. And I want to ask all my Aries to start to do that as well. All right. Thank you, Shelley. Lucky's doing pretty good. I think he's underneath he's on the couch. Let me turn the camera real quick. Can you see him laying on the couch? Lucky, say hi to the peeps. He's like, don't bug me when I'm sleeping. All right. Oh, you guys, I'm so annoying. Let me tell you this before I go on to Aries, okay? I checked his chart, and my moon, my Taurus moon, Lucky has Venus and Jupiter on either side of my moon in Taurus. Totally feel like this dog is like, I love this dog ridiculously. Can you imagine Venus and Pluto? I'm not Pluto, Jupiter. He expands my heart, makes me feel lovey. It's so fun. All right. I digress. Here we go. Rick, I didn't even think of that. So I looked because Venus is conjunct my ascendant. Oh, I'll take it. All right. Aries, our first angel is Oceana. The second is Crystal. The third is Archangel Uriel. And the final is Seraphina. Yes, CC Pups. Lucky and I are soulmates. I'm absolutely convinced 100%. Because if my calculations are right, his 12th house is Taurus. Which would be why he's, I think, such a happy, because he has a little, if Gemini is his rising sign, that's why he's always like, let's party. Okay. Oceana is being joined by the Burden card. Oh. Crystal's being joined by the Raven. Ooh, Archangel Uriel is being joined by the Wasp, and Seraphina is being joined by the Focus card. All right, so at first appearance, this looked a little bit challenging, but on second, I don't know if it is, because this is another one of those dig deep things. So here we are. We're at the tail end of Aries season. What is it? Today's the 11th. Not that quite. We have another week or two. When you think about the elements of Aries kind of impulsively takes action, doesn't always think about what's going on. And if you don't always think about what's going on and you just take action, then you're probably doing it on a patterned platform, meaning it's a knee jerk onto something. Because Oceana is saying to take action, you're in touch with your truth, and then there's the burden card. So I don't know. Is Aries really able to take action, or are you so busy wanting to get from A to B that you're not paying attention to your emotional body in the meantime? There's a very strong feeling of impatience coming with the Aries energy right now. And maybe that has something to do with all the planets traversing Aries as well. Because Crystal's saying have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon. And then there's the timing card. And this is the timing card. Magic, coincidence, and synchronistic events. And then in the Angel's advice, I've got frustration and the Wasp. This is not fun. But this is what's blocking the manifestation. The more frustrated that we get with the timing of a situation, the more it literally slows it down. And I feel sometimes because Aries represents the warrior, it represents courage and bravery, I don't always get to be indulgent to my emotions. And I think at this moment, it is about being indulgent to your emotions, but not the negative emotions. It's the more authentic emotions. So this is the thing. This last week, I really, been considering all of this death and rebirth and the idea that Pluto has been transiting all of my planets my whole life. I mean, if I knew about astrology when I was younger, I might have lived my whole life scared. Because it's been conjunct my Mars before, it's been conjunct my Sun, it's been conjunct my Neptune in the 8th house and my Mercury. I didn't die. But boy, have I learned a lot. And now it's time to incorporate it. Now it's a little bit of time to sit back and say, am I a victim of my life, or am I a spiritual warrior that incorporates all of this stuff? Because it isn't easy. It's not always fun. It's actually kind of a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. Excuse me. So I want to offer this because in the final position is Seraphina, offering a happy change to the family and the Focus card. And what I think happened for me this particular last couple of weeks is that my goals haven't changed, but I think I had at some point, I've got to build my YouTube channel. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to conquer this and reach out to that. And in the meantime, I'm, worrying about my dog, and I'm not wanting to do anything but take a nap and be, sleep the fear off. Honestly, sleep the fear off. And then I just start to rewrite everything and take all the pressure off of me. It isn't about pushing. And that's what Aries wants to do. It wants to push. I think this is about slowing down a little bit and taking really strategic, loving-based actions. The burden is to slow down and really figure out what's important to me. Because Aries is like, no, I got an idea. Let's go. Oh, there's a synchronistic timing of things. It's happening for you, Aries. You can't always see it. So staying in the moment, being authentic in the moment. Spirit knows you're frustrated with the timing of things. They know you're starting to get pissed off. But they're like, when you find out how this is going to play out, Aries, you're going to be so much happier. And you will have learned something. You'll learn that your oversoul sometimes knows more than you know. And it's stronger than you are. And sometimes it takes over. Thank God. So that's what I want to say. There's a new moon coming. There's this exaltation this week of these two planets at the same time. The mother and the father coming together to birth something new. And when we start to birth something, we plant it in the seeds of the dark. And we need to give it time. Time to root. time to grow, time to mature. And our job is to hold space for that maturation. I hope I said that right. All right. I think that's it for me for this week. So here we go. I'm not too bad on time. Only 4 minutes over. Try to keep it in an hour and a half. I want to thank everybody so much. I felt really bad about leaving that little message, that voice message about Lucky. And I know y'all were worried about him, but the prayers that you sent him and from all around the world, I felt so blessed. And I know he felt it as well. And I'm pretty sure he's just fine. We'll know more, but I trust it. So thank you all for coming. I'll be back next Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time with more messages from your angels. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you can go to Lada's website. I'm in the reader's menu. And love and peace to y'all. Peace.